Peter's mom died in a fire. He was right beside her, but he couldn't move. So he came to us begging for one thing, to become Spider-Man. We're going to use actual science to give him all of Spider-Man's powers, but each experiment will be more dangerous than the last, and he might regret everything because he'll finally understand what great power actually costs. Let's begin with spider sense. Here's how your brain's alarm actually works. Your eyes see something, transmit nerve signals to your brain, which checks them, then you feel alerted. But there is a shortcut. It allows nerve signals to skip straight to the part that screams danger, the amygdala. This lets you skip the checking part completely. Basically, the shortcut sounds the alarm first, and understanding only comes later. That's why people jump at a curled rope in the grass before they know it's not a snake. Therefore, we widen that shortcut in Peter's brain to amplify this phenomenon. We then connect it to his 5 senses, like sight, hearing, and touch. Now, he can sense danger from any direction. But here's the problem. Peter can't tell the difference between small danger and big danger. A falling leaf gives off the same alarm as a punch. Peter now has the warning that could have saved her, but he can't tell which warnings are real. And this problem will only become more dangerous for him, because every power after this is going to make him feel more and more guilty. Geckos can run up walls, they can even cross ceilings upside down, but they never fall. The secret is in their feet. They contain millions of tiny hairs called setae, and these tiny hairs split into tips that are very small, which allows them to get extremely close to a surface. This closeness causes atoms to pull towards each other, just a tiny bit. One hair barely holds anything, but billions of them can carry the gecko's whole body weight. Therefore, we grow billions of these tiny hairs densely onto Peter's hands and feet. Now, Peter can run straight up a building without any ropes or gear. But sticking isn't the hard part, letting go is. If he peels his hand off the wall at the wrong angle, he's stuck. And there's another weakness we didn't expect. Water and dust break the same atomic pull that lets Peter climb. So, we know exactly how to take his powers away. One rainstorm and his powers are gone. Peter can now reach anyone in trouble, but reaching them and saving them are two different problems. There's a hormone called IGF-1, and its job is to tell muscle cells to keep building instead of stopping. Scientists once injected extra IGF-1 into mice, and those mice grew so much muscle that the press nicknamed them Schwarzenegger mice. They had the same body size, but were nearly 30% stronger. But scientists kept the dose low on purpose, because too much IGF-1 can trigger cancer. However, we ignored this and fed Peter's muscles with as much IGF-1 as possible, telling every muscle fiber in his body to keep building past its normal limit. Now, Peter can lift a car or hold up a collapsing wall, but his muscles grew faster than his nervous system learned to control them. His brain never got the years of practice it takes to master new strength. Every time someone offers him a handshake or a hug, he has to consciously hold back, or his grip defaults to full force. The same strength that could have saved his mom now forces him to be careful around anyone he loves. But strength alone isn't enough to be Spider-Man. It doesn't matter if he can lift a wall if he's too slow. Spider silk is 5 times stronger than steel. Here's how to store it and fire it instantly without web shooters, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. There's a type of fish in the ocean called hagfish. They can release a slime that expands 10,000 times in under a second. This is because hagfish store coiled protein threads inside their slime glands, called a skein, kinda like a ball of yarn. The moment it's triggered, the slime releases all at once. Therefore, we build a gland in Peter's arm that stores spider silk in the same compressed way, allowing him to fire it through his wrist on command. Now, Peter can shoot a web fast enough to catch someone mid-air, but the gland isn't unlimited. If he fires it too many times, it runs dry, even if he's hundreds of feet in the air. And there's a quieter cost too. Every change to his body is one more thing he has to hide from his friends and family. Speed and strength mean nothing if a single bad landing takes him out. Cats can drop from almost any height and land on their feet every single time. This is because there's a balance system inside a cat's ear. Scientists call it the vestibular system. It tells the brain which way is down, and it allows the cat's muscles to correct its body mid-fall before it even thinks. This is called the cat righting reflex. Therefore, we modify Peter's vestibular system to have the same architecture as cats. But there is a problem. A falling human hits the ground twice as fast as a cat, which is fast enough to shatter his bones no matter how he lands. That's where his denser muscles from chapter 3 comes in. They absorb the impact and protect his skeleton. Now, Peter can fall from heights that should kill him and land clean every single time. But this is where his judgment starts slipping. He stops thinking if a jump is smart, and only if he can survive it. The boy who once froze now jumps without hesitating at all. But is that really a good thing? The bigger the risk Peter takes, the more often he gets hurt. Whenever a planarian worm is cut into pieces, something strange happens. Every piece grows into a whole new worm. They can rebuild their entire body from just a fragment. This is because they have cells called neoblasts. Most cells already have a job, but neoblasts don't. They're blank. So when the worm gets cut, neoblasts rush to the wound and transform into whatever's missing. Because of this, the worm can rebuild itself from scratch. Therefore, we flood Peter's body with neoblasts. Now, wounds that would normally take weeks or even months to heal recover in hours. But flesh doesn't come from nothing. Every time he heals, his body burns through its own fat and muscle as the price. If he doesn't eat enough, he starts eating himself from the inside. This is the turning point for Peter, because pain was supposed to be a warning. He starts throwing himself into every single fight, because nothing reminds him to stop anymore. It's been 6 experiments, and Peter has run out of excuses. He can sense danger, reach anyone, and survive almost anything now, so there's nothing left for him to blame but himself. Psychologists call this inflated responsibility. It's the belief that if you're capable of stopping something bad, it's your fault if you don't. And there's a second bias that makes this problem even worse. It's called hindsight bias. Once you realize how you could have stopped a tragedy, your brain convinces you that you should have known it in the past as well. Firefighters and surgeons get hit by this the hardest, because the more skilled they become, the more they judge their past selves based on a standard they didn't meet yet. Peter is experiencing the same thing. He recalls that night with all 6 of his new superpowers. So, part of him is convinced that boy could have saved her too, even though he was still weak at the time. Therefore, Peter's mind rewires itself around this one belief. Anything bad that happens near him is his fault, because he was capable of stopping it. He built all of this so that he would never freeze again, but instead, he built a version of himself that's never allowed to stop. He can save almost anyone in the world now, except the one person that started all of this. She's still dead.